everyone, and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. And so for this week I actually have a priority that I want to finish. This week I want to finish Quichotte by Salman Rushdie. This is just the dust jacket, the physical book is over there somewhere, because I just started it earlier today. But so this is the final book I have to read in order to complete the long list and the short list for Booker Prize 2019. Next week, Tuesday the 28th of July, the new long list for the Booker Prize 2020 is getting published, is getting announced, so I need to finish this book in time for that list because I don't want to be like still completing this while I already have a new list to think about. But so this is a Don Quixote retelling. I still have to read Don Quixote. Part of the reason why I was postponing this is because in some twisted part of my brain I was hoping to read the Don Quixote first, but Don Quixote is a 1,500 page book that I have lying around in the Spanish edition. So I've been postponing it, I've been procrastinating on it. It will happen eventually, but I'll first read this one. And so in Don Quixote we have our protagonist who reads too many books and who kind of is driven mad from literature. He can no longer tell fantasy from reality, and so he invents this big quest for himself in order to win over the love of his life, Dulcinea, and he sets out with his companion, Sancho Panza. And this is going to be a retelling of that. I've only read the first 10 pages of this book, but based on that I can already tell you that in this one Don Quixote is driven mad by watching too much reality TV. It is Thursday afternoon, evening, and yesterday I went to the bookstore. So I went to the bookstore because I'm going to be trying to go sugar-free, or at least to reduce my sugar intake, and I wanted a little bit of a book about, not necessarily just about sugar, but about dietary needs in general, with a part about sugar then. And so I went for this one. It's in Dutch, so it's not really going to be useful for most of you. It's called the Voedselzandloper, but it's it's a general work about, you know, what dietary needs we need. It's sort of like general framework. It's like the food triangle that used to exist is somewhat similar to this, and so it's just a non-fiction for me to dive into over the coming weeks, months, years. The second one is similar in that sense. It's also a Dutch book, so it is called Pijn, which is a Dutch for pain. So it's a book about the science behind pain, but also about ways of treating pain, ways of dealing mentally with pain and stuff like that. I guess this is the equivalent of don't go shopping when you're hungry. This is don't go book shopping when you're in pain. And then the final book that I got is not a non-fiction, so will count for my purchases for this month, and that is Meanwhile in Dopamine City by DBC Pierre. I would say Pierre based on the spelling, because it looks like French spelling, but you know, who knows. DBC Pierre, that's what I'm going for. But so this book is about a father-daughter relationship, and so the father doesn't really appear to have a whole lot of money. He appears to be struggling to get around a little bit, and his daughter wants to make certain demands on his life, or there are a lot of things that his daughter feels like she needs in order to live her life. And one day he kind of gives in to these demands and he buys her a smartphone. Now he himself is very much uneducated when it comes to modern technology and stuff like that, and he sees his daughter retreat more and more into her room, more and more into the world, the digital world that she's accessing through her smartphone. So I think it's going to be a lot about that sort of like an older generation looking at the impact of social media, of all of these technologies that are at our disposal at this moment. And I'm looking forward to it, but this cover was so gorgeous, I couldn't let it go regardless. Like, even if I hadn't been interested in the premise, I would have gotten it because it's such a gorgeous cover. Like, yeah, I'm just in love with it. But so yeah, as for Quichotte by Salman Rushdie, I am still only like 70 pages into it or something like that. It is turning out to be quite a hassle to get through. Like, I mean, I feel like after 10 pages I already feel like I've been reading for a very long time. What is that sound? So I am going through it like super slowly. Plus this week is the week of the reading rush, and so there's so much booktube content out there, and so I'm trying to watch like some of the vlogs of like a certain amount of people every day. So I'm trying to follow certain people every day, but it's just too much people. I can't keep up with this. Hey everyone, it's the weekend and I'm going to Bruges today, but I probably won't have any footage of that. I'm really still not entirely sure whether I'm going to take my camera or not. Probably not, just because it's going to rain a lot. I don't want to worry about it. It is like the big DSLR camera. I don't have another camera. And also just like I have muscular dystrophy. It's mainly focused on the shoulder. My shoulder is already hurting a little bit at this point, and I know if I'm going to log that camera with me that I'm going to be in a lot of pain tomorrow, so I probably won't take any footage. Maybe try to do some on my phone, but my phone really has horrible quality. But so I am about 140 pages into Quichotte by Salman Rushdie. I won't give you any details on like my thoughts about it at the point, because I think they're more or less the same as what I gave before. But I will let you guys know that I am hoping to read 100 pages today, and that I am planning to make this a 2-week vlog. So I've like at the beginning of June, I guess, is when I started these vlogs. At the beginning of June I had like I filmed 3 vlogs, and it took me like those 3 vlogs before I started editing them. So I have a delay on like my vlogs coming out of like 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. And I want to rectify that, because I find it very annoying to like have my vlogs be about books I read 3 weeks ago. Hey guys, so another little outfit of the day. So it's a very basic outfit, nothing special, you know, but this is my going to Bruges little outfit. Yes, I know I cannot stand far away from this mirror enough for you guys to have a full overview, but hey, maybe I should just more or less, right? Hey guys, don't mind the dirty mirror. So it is, I think I'm in focus. So it is Wednesday evening of the next week, and I am still reading this one. Now you can see I am almost through it, but I still expect it to take until tomorrow for me to finish it. I am 80 pages out from the end. I am not enjoying this book. But at this point I'm definitely not quitting anymore, because, you know, I've put myself to 310 pages of this. Even my cat is bored, you know. Even the cat is like, oh, are you still talking about this book? So I put myself through 310 pages. I put myself through 310 pages of this book. I am finishing this one. But I can already predict you it's going to be very low on my list for the Booker Prize 2019. And yes, the Booker Long List 2020 has already been announced in the meantime. All in all, it's just, there's interesting stuff happening with the structuring of this book and with what the author is trying to say, but it's just so boring that, and it's just like, it's going over my head a lot of the time as well, so I feel like it's like overly symbolic, I guess, I guess that is a problem, that I feel like a lot of it has to do with symbolism, and you have to kind of think about what he's trying to represent in the book, and that just really isn't working for me. And yeah, I'm also not like, in no sense did we get close to any of these characters, so I'm also just not intrigued with what's going to happen with any of these characters. And I do like the sense that he's really playing with different like layers of reality, and you know, you have the story, and then you have the writer of that story, and then you have a writer of the actual story, and at times you're really like, it's very much blending all into one, so you kind of get lost within the narrative at times, wondering like at which level of the narrative you are at now. But yeah, it's really not working for me, so I will power through this. So time for a change of scenery, and so time for another update. So yesterday evening I actually finished a book. I finished Quichotte by Salman Rushdie. This is definitely not going to be a favorite of mine or anything like that. I should have DNF'd this one, but I didn't. I continued all the way through because I wanted to finish all of the Booker Prize long-listed books for 2019, and I felt like I couldn't fully form my thoughts on this if I hadn't finished it. But yeah, finishing it didn't really change my thoughts in any way, so I think too much was put into this book. I liked certain things that the author was trying to do, but I felt like he couldn't dive into any of that fully, or he didn't dive into the things that I liked enough, because he was just going at so many things at the same time. But so yeah, didn't like it. Gave it a 2-star rating, but should probably be a 1-star. But so it is the last day of July right now, and part of me wants to finish another book today so that I can have like my streak of over 10 books every month, where I'm not at now. So I've read 9 books this month, but I think I'm going to just continue on with the books that I'm currently reading. It is Finish-a-thon this week, and so the idea is this is a readathon hosted by Tasman from Tea with Tasman. I think that is what the channel is called, and the idea is you finish all of the current reads you've got going on. So I have 4 current reads. I just finished Quichotte. One of them is a buddy read over multiple months, so I'm not going to include that one. But then I'm also listening to How He Disappeared by Jing Lee, and I'm also reading White Rage as an e-book, and I think I'm going to be listening a little bit more to How He Disappeared tonight. I mean, if I spend the rest of my evening listening, I can still finish it tonight, I think, but that's not my intention. So I haven't talked about How He Disappeared yet, but this is a novel set in Singapore. I think it's also a translated work. It was nominated for the Women's Prize of this year. Yeah, 2020, I guess. So it was nominated for the Women's Prize. It is a novel set in Singapore in which we are following our main character Wang Ti, who is Those tones might have been completely wrong, by the way. So she is a woman living in Singapore. How often can I say Singapore? So she's a woman living in Singapore who, at the age of 16, she is taken away from her normal environments when the Japanese invade Singapore, invade China. And she's taken away from her normal setting, and she's thrust into this sort of house called the Black and White House, where she has to entertain the troops. It is set in multiple time periods, so we are looking at her at that time of her life, we are looking at her at a later point in her life, and we are looking at a third perspective, which is a boy called Kevin, who is unsure to me at this point what his relationship is to Wang Di. Yeah, it's obviously a harrowing book, it's obviously hard to read. Yeah, I have gotten through some of the passages of when she first arrives in this house and her first experiences there. So definitely be aware there are obviously a lot of trigger warning for sexual violence, for rape, for diseases and all of those things, for poor conditions, because not only are they thrust into this situation, they're also very poorly treated, very malnourished and all of those things, very much abused verbally, physically, sexually. So yeah, it's not an easy book to read, but so I will be listening to that a little bit more, and then yeah, hopefully over the rest of the weekend I can finish some more. I can finish those two books. That would be my ideal resolution to this weekend, would be to have those two books finished and have a great start to my month of August then. Time to round off the weekly reading vlog, which turned into a 2-weekly reading vlog. Has to steal the show every single time. So my main focus during these 2 weeks, sadly it was not intended to be my main focus, was finishing this one, which took me forever, but so yeah, this I finished this week. Then what I also finished was How He Disappeared by Jing Lee. I got close to finishing White Rage by Carol Anderson, and I read 100 pages in the Count of Monte Cristo, and I can already spoil things for you a little bit and let you guys know that I caught up to where I needed to be at the end of July, so looking good for the Count of Monte Cristo. So yeah, that's it for me for this reading vlog, and next week you'll be getting a little bit of a different reading vlog, but more about that next week.